something you learned? Were you born an entrepreneur?
You got to start small.
I have not allowed being a woman to hold me back.
Credibility is not just making money, it's about making sure that people trust what you're doing.
Law practice is not only about going to court, it's about advice.
It's very difficult to hire somebody who's not motivated and then make them motivated.
One of the things that I'm known for is integrity.
They have to see you as a person of integrity.
Welcome to the Executive Lounge. I'm Inshira Ado. This is your favorite thought leadership show that brings you nuggets of insights from the lives and work of men and women who have scaled the daunting heights of either starting their own business or growing institutions and organizations right here at home and around the world. Now, it is often said that behind every revolution is that unseen, unsung hero. The people who work behind the scenes to create the enabling environment for that revolution to occur. In the case of Ghana's digital revolution, my guest today can be classed as such, a young man with a dream and a vision to teach people how to code. Richard Brandt is the CEO and founder of Code Train, an institution based here in Ghana, has offices in Accra and Kumasi, where they pretty much can turn anyone from any background without any prior technology experience into professional software developers. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So how did you start out dreaming about making people code?
As kids, we had so many things that we wanted to do. We wanted to become pilots. We built our own toys. We wanted to become engineers. We wanted to do so many things. But along the way, we lose track of all those dreams. So it's something that really motivated me to create a kind of new way of education that can enable young people here to achieve their dreams. And whilst people try to achieve their dreams, they try to create a better life for all of us.
Oh, that's wonderful. So did you have any technological training yourself? What was the journey of your education like?
Yeah, so I did mathematics in KNUST, and after the 4-year period, I had an opportunity to go to MEST, which is the Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology, right. Where I learned business and also how to build apps and how to build software.
You didn't think that you should take that knowledge and go and start an app building business, but you thought you should teach people. Why?
Yeah, so initially, I've always wanted to do something to help society. So even while studying at MEST, I was part of a group that built an app for maternal mothers to not face mortality during childbirth, and we got an award by the UN summit at that time. Of course, I went into consulting and trying to build my own company and software, products. But along the line, I needed interns and I needed people to help me, do a little bit of the work. And I took a few interns from all the universities. And the problem was that they didn't really have what it takes to actually work. So I decided to just train them so that maybe when they come back the next time, they can contribute and they can do more.
Wow.
And I realized that, their lives changed and they started inviting their friends.
Okay.
So then I thought, wow, I've always wanted to do something to help. And I've gotten a lot of privileges to study technology, entrepreneurship. And I even got an opportunity to study in Santiago, Chile, abroad, to advance my skills in technology. So I thought, wow, maybe this is the time I need to create something to enable these young ones also achieve their dreams.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, you said that, quite often when they came in, you realized that they weren't up to the task. What was missing?
So the practical skills, the practical side of doing things. We are more focused on finding those that can be able to achieve higher grades, like in school, exams and tests actually try to give people that can pass a higher status. And most of the kids that can't sit at one place, and they are very curious, they are very creative. These are the ones that could become engineers, problem solvers. They can be curious to create breakthrough technologies and breakthrough ways of creating new things. But the education system tries to push them to the back. And so along the way, as you go through it, it's focused on grades and exams. So the practical aspect of the training is not there.
And in this day and age, it's no longer about the paper, it's about showing what you can do.
Yeah. I mean, the coming of the internet, and now companies, want people that can actually do things, that can actually build things, that know how to work.
I want us to just dive into education for a moment. Of course, you went through the system that you described. When you left school and first went into Meltwater, what difference did you find in the way you were being trained there as compared to the period of your junior high school, primary, all the way to finishing KNUST?
At Meltwater, one of the motto or the main things that they say is, your success is your own responsibility. And being able to become a successful person comes from an inner drive, an inner motivation or fire that comes from you. Everybody has it.
Yeah.
So how do you let that thing come out, and then the person becomes self-motivated to work? The main difference I saw was that we're being taught to actually do things by working on projects. So if you go through a class, it doesn't just end there. How do you use what you've learned to identify a problem in society and then put up a solution to it?
Is this taught throughout or only for your capstone project?
The whole idea is that throughout, but then at the end of the program you do like different capstone projects.
Wow, that's interesting stuff. So for you, how did you transition from having learned the old way, where you read the books, stay late at night, you cram, and then you go and pour it out? I don't know whether studying mathematics would have been a little different from maybe the arts, in terms of the approach to studying and reproducing what you're taught.
Yes, it wasn't easy. And I would say that I was very privileged and fortunate to have met mentors and have seen people doing things in a different way, and then I learned from them. And it's mainly been exposure after school, because firstly, I was just a normal graduate who thought like very locally. I didn't really have big aims. The main goal of the average young person here is to get to a point where they get a job after school. They get a nice house. You are comfortable. You can give your parents money. I think that is how our society have been able to define success. So it runs through everything. However, I got a change in mentality that, wow, like I could find new ways of creating wealth. I could, solve problems. I could come up with things that wouldn't allow people to die during the floods. You could do things like you could create so much value, like in billions of dollars. You could do so much, and then it started, changing my perspectives and changing the way I do things. Like I saw life to be more serious, and then it changed my values too, because I realized I could create so much value. So I needed to have like people that have also created value and people that can support. So then you learn certain values, like you have to be honest with them, you have to be truthful, you have to be very, very honest in all your dealings. You have to learn to treat people well. You have to be able to create an environment where you're helping other people. So, all these experiences and values made me think that, wow, if I could put together like a secret sauce or a formula that could And that if any young person that's, having gotten exposure, having been to so many countries, having met so many great people, that person can also be able to be transformed into that kind of person, So what kind of environment, what kind of education, what kind of mentality does that person need to have in order to become world class and in order to become a better person for himself and for society? So now the definition of success now is not about what I can do for myself, but what I can do to create a better life for society.
And you, as a member of society, you benefit as well.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting that you talked about the fact that for you, exposure, meeting mentors and learning from different people and the practical aspect of the work made a great deal of difference. Yeah. Now, if you look back at your journey of education and you had the free range today that says, okay, Richard, we want you to change what would you change about how your educational process began and the journey?
So one major thing I would change is competition.
Okay.
Because,
in what sense?
Because competition kills dreams. If I start competing with you, you are very good at what you do. I'm very good at what we do. Once we start focusing on each other, we tend to lose track of what actually our potential is, right? So let me make an example. Peter Thiel has a theory that, in school, you have a group of people in a class, and they are competing for grades. They are competing who is going to be the first. After high school, you go to university, you go and compete with even smarter people. You get more stress. It's so much competition. And the question is, the individuals in the competition or the individual students, what are their potentials? What are their dreams? What are the unique abilities and, gifts that they have that they can bring to fore? All these are lost because now they don't tend to learn based on their curiosity and based on innovation. They are learning just to compete. So, for instance, I'd wish that in school, by the age I was 14 or 15, some of my peers were very good in practical things. Some of them were not good in class. But if the bulbs go off, they climb and they fix it. Even if the ceiling fan is not working, before the electrician comes, they fidgeted with it and they fixed it, And I wish that we had a kind of education that could bring out their potential and everybody's potential. So you can even have 15-year-olds that can go to Abuso, buy engine, fix things together. You can, because we have so many people with such potential, and it seems like we lose track of, all that, right?
And the scale for measurement is actually more the grammarian skill, because then you have to write an exam and pass.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's quite interesting you say this. Recently, I saw a movie. I think it's called Like Stars from Heaven. It's a Bollywood movie that was teaching about dyslexia. And there were scenes in there that got me realizing that as a society, we may have missed out on a number of things, because I saw symptoms and I read more about dyslexia. I was like, oh my goodness, so that girl or that boy that, people laughed at in class and said, oh, Wario and all of those things. They weren't bad people, but they were just different. Yeah. So our society needs to start getting to the point where we can identify the different potentials that people have and harness those. Yeah. Because, it's interesting that you said you admire people who can do stuff with their hands. I mean, my younger brother, bless him, he can he does the plumbing around the house. I don't know where he learned it. I can't do that to save my life. And I have a great deal of respect for him. Yeah. Because the difference between the two of us is that he can speak Brofo and write it and do the grammar and all the things that we did in school, except that now he can actually do practical things that I can't. Exactly. And so for you think practical teaching is important?
Exactly. So for instance...
From what age do you think we'll have to start?
from class 1 or nursery, because in two ways, right? So at Co-Train, we have our own pet project where we have kids like 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. On Saturday mornings and vacations, we teach them how to code and how to build projects, and we also teach them how to think. So we have design thinking sessions for them, right? And they build apps, and they love it, right? And we, like 3 weeks ago, we decided to do a little bit something more different. So we asked them to come and, design a futuristic wallet. If you had to design your own wallet for the future, what would you design it to be? And one of the kids built, when it was his turn, he came forward and said that his wallet allows you to get your money in cash when someone sends a mobile money, Momo to you.
Wow.
Right? And everybody, as we adults, we started questioning, how is that going to work, and everything. And he started talking about NFC technology, this and that, and he believes that can work. So that kind of practical education can start early with critical thinking and, the ability to create enough space for kids to dream. And then in our main program for adults, we've structured it such that the teaching itself is based on practical projects.
Okay.
And at the end of the program, we have something called a dream project. So whatever your dream is, whatever you want to do, you can build a project to solve a problem in society. And so one of our students currently, she's building an Android app which allows women to find points where they can pee when they go to town, when they step out. Because it's very difficult sometimes to get a place where you can pee.
That's true.
Especially
we
women.
haven't evolved to the point where we have, loos in town. Yeah.
Exactly. So he wants to create something like an Uber for, finding where to pee. She realized that this has a potential to, solve health issues. And now she's achieving a dream, of being able to do something for society and also being able to build something that solves a problem. So we need to be able to, we need to start as early as possible to, grades is not bad, but we need to also create space for curiosity and, innovation. And then things are going to get much, much better. We can improve the lives of people in Ghana.
In some jurisdictions, children don't take tests until I think they're past the age of 10 or 9, thereabouts. Yeah. Would you advocate for something like that in Ghana?
So, the question is, what's the purpose of the test in the first place? I believe in doing things from first principles by asking the root questions. For instance, why was test instituted? What's the purpose? And whatever purpose it serves, can we really look at it again? Can we look at, is it just a way of sieving people through so that, to select people to go to the next level? And is it in the best interest of our human resource? Because our biggest and the most valuable resource that we have is not oil, it's not cocoa, it's our youth, it's the people. So is the system still getting the best out of people? Is it, are we shortchanging ourselves? Because if we select just a few people to go, what about the rest? And even the few people that move ahead, are we getting their potential? And the people that are graduating, are they actually doing something to, improve society? Are they doing something to help? Let me give you a very simple example. So we have, the way we pound fufu, right? With the mortar and
the pesto.
And the
a
pesto.
lot of elbow grease.
So I was thinking, one day, and I thought that, wow. So who came up with that technology? Because we've been using it for maybe centuries, right? Yeah. Or for so many years, yeah. And that innovation that maybe one of our forefathers came up with to allow us to use a mortar and pestle to pound, it works perfectly. And it's taken us all this far, right? And it's not going to take us forever, right? We will need to improve it. Because we wouldn't need to spend so much energy in order to just eat. So last time I went to my dad's place and they had fufu in the house. And they said when it came to the pounding, they said, oh, there's a machine in the neighborhood. So we took it to the machine, and there were so many people there.
Lining up to pound their
I was really surprised. Like, there were so many people there. Like, wow. Like, is this how? Because I know complaints that it doesn't taste the same. So, but there were still so many people there. The question is, why were there so many people there? Because the machine is an easier and better way of doing things with less. It's faster and it saves you so much time. And if you have so many family members coming to the house, let's say 30 people.
A lot more in no time.
Yeah, you can use the same effort to just like serve everybody. You just need to do the soup. So these are ways that, we can do things to improve the way society lives. And technology is not only about machines or phones or, tech is basically new and better ways of doing things, right? And I believe that if we can look at training people that can solve problems, then we can train people that can find new and better ways of doing things to save the average person from, living, a very hard and difficult life.
Wow. Interesting point you raise. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have more from my guest. Richard Brandt is the CEO and founder of CodeTrain, and I'm excited, and I hope you are too. See you in a minute. Welcome back to the Executive Lounge with me, Inshira Ado, and my guest Richard Brandt, CEO and founder of CodeTrain. It's an institution that has offices here in Accra and in Kumasi, where they can turn anybody into a software developer. You talked about, the program where you expose children to technology and to coding. Yeah. I find it quite intriguing, the story of the child who decided that he would do a project on the future wallet that he would use, and his wallet would turn, when you get Momo, he would be able to get cash out of it. I mean, it's intriguing, and it got me thinking, what about technology education do you think can transform this country?
So, firstly, the short answer is technology education can create massive wealth on a massive scale to make sure everybody is comfortable, right? The second bit is jobs. It has the potential to create so many jobs, Think of Uber. Uber came to Ghana. It has employed so many people. It's been disruptive as well with the taxi drivers. However, the net effect is positive. Imagine we come up with so many other breakthroughs that can actually has the potential to create a lot of wealth. Now see this, right? Every society has moves from one point to the other. So about, let's say, in the last 50 years in Ghana's history, there wasn't so much wealth, and now things have changed. We have like a growing middle class. Things are improving. Everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has things. And the reason is because in the history of mankind, improvement and advancement in technology is not automatic. It's something that some group of people have to come up with. And with regards to Ghana, for instance, we have so many advancements, like that we've been able to leapfrog from the Western side. However, it is time that we can also get in the fore. And I believe that by 2040, if we align our education very well, we can become a global force. This is because currently the next wave of advancement in the whole world now is going to be software and new technologies like AI, robotics, Internet of Things. And the good news about that is this. You don't need, like, unlike the other waves of human progress, it required a lot of like infrastructure, a lot of revenue, a lot of money, a lot of funding, a lot of resources. But the good thing about this new wave of progress that the world is moving into only requires a laptop and
You need
internet.
a computer and internet.
Yeah, that's the only thing that
So
it
the
requires.
entry barrier is
It's
lower.
broken.
As I think there's a book. So the world is now very flat.
Yes.
And because of this fourth industrial revolution, you don't need to build. I mean, Airbnb, Uber. You have all these disruptive technological businesses that actually don't own any infrastructure.
Exactly. So, for instance, the biggest hotel company in the world is Airbnb. They don't own any hotel. The biggest taxi service in the world, Uber, they don't own any taxis. The biggest media company in the world is Facebook. They don't publish anything. So it tells you.
It's mind-boggling, huh?
Yeah. So it tells you that now all that we need to be successful is a vibrant, creative set of like young people, and with good education and with like good direction, and I mean we missed out on the first, second, and third industrial revolutions, and it didn't really help us a lot. But all is not lost, right? And I believe that this is the perfect time for us to jump on the fourth industrial revolution driven by software and more advanced technologies. And it's not so expensive in order to jump on. We just need to transform our youth into people that can build software, people that can offer services, people that can create new things that doesn't require much. In order to create $1 billion company like Snapchat, you just need a laptop and internet, and that really has that can transform our economy. It can create enough wealth. It can create enough jobs.
Fantastic stuff. I'm wondering whether at my age I can jump into learning technology. Is there an age barrier? What's the ideal age range that people can actually be at their optimum creative selves?
There's no age barrier actually. We at Coltrane, we had one of our students. She has a background in law, and she's worked and consulted for so many years. And she decided to switch to technology, and she started at Coltrane from scratch. And now she has built so many projects. One of her last projects, so she built an app that allows takes you enter the foodstuffs you have in your house, and the app gives you like a recipe of like what you can prepare based on what you have in your fridge.
Wow.
That was one of her dream projects.
Okay.
And she's doing advanced training now in order to interview with some of the biggest software companies. So there is no age barrier to learning in general.
You just have to have the desire to do it and the commitment to go through
the commitment and the desire.
Okay. And so typically, how long would it take for somebody who, for example, says, and this is important, especially off the back of the World Economic Forum predicting that in the next 15 years, lots of the jobs as we know it will no longer exist. And we're riding on this wave of the fourth industrial revolution. So whether we like it or not, there are certain things that we will no longer be doing.
Yeah.
And that means there's idle human capital. But if there's no age barrier and somebody can switch from law and start doing tech work, and I mean some mind-boggling, it's so simple, but it's also profound that the app can give you recipes just based on what you've got in your fridge.
Yeah.
So you don't have to think too hard.
Yeah.
And that's also adding value to society.
Exactly.
Right? Instead of scratching your head wondering what to cook, you can now just quickly, key in the thing, and then it will tell you this is what to cook. But this is someone who hitherto was not doing this.
Exactly.
Somebody watching us now who's thinking, hey, so this job I'm doing might not be necessary anymore one day. and I want to diversify, how long would it take for somebody with no experience at using a computer to jump into the tech space and be able to get to a point where they can take their brains, their intellect and creativity and translate it into tools that can offer service?
So it only takes about a year for that to happen. And what it takes actually is the right kind of education and dedication as well. So at CoTrain, we've designed our curriculum in a way that anybody can actually pass through. And we assume that you don't know anything, and we take them through the basics, and we take them through sections where they have to work on projects. Every part of the training is a project, you know, and we are trying to re-engineer a new kind of like education, where the curriculum is let's say a curriculum of 1 year. Let's say we have like 50 weeks. Those 50 weeks are divided into 50 mini projects.
Okay.
Right. And so from day one, so if you come to CoTrain and you start today, you are going to go home with a project and you'll be coding, you know, and your kids and everyone will be surprised, like, Daddy, what are you doing, you know, from day one. Okay. So the first week you build a project, you'll be building projects every week, and as, you know, the weeks go by, you'll be merging them, you know, and everything starts falling in place. It gets to a time when, let's say by 7th month, you are working on more advanced projects. And then after that, you start working on, like, you know, thinking about creating projects to solve problems. You know, and then you start learning more advanced things. So it's based on projects, it's based on what you can do, and it's also based on your curiosity and your innovation.
Curiosity. Okay, well, it didn't kill the cat after all. It can actually turn you into a billionaire in this new era we live in. So I'd like to move a little away from education and talk about technology. I mean, beyond technology helping us decide what to cook, what do you think would be practical applications of technology in solving problems in this country? Why should we even pay more attention to it beyond the fact that it can transform our economy? What would it do for us?
So one thing that really caught me about technology is the ability to save the average person from an extremely difficult and painful life.
Okay.
Right. So so let me give an example. Malaria. Right. We still have malaria, and we have. I can tell you, companies are losing so much productivity because in so many parts of the year, employees have to go back because they have malaria. And imagine a painful life of, let's say, 70 years where you have so much malaria. It stunts your growth from doing so many things. Because when you get malaria, about the next 2 weeks, you'll not be productive. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you try, you are going to suffer. Even if you try getting stuff, you realize that no, I have to go home and go and sleep. So an example like malaria, technology has potential of solving a problem like that, and saving people from an extremely difficult and painful life. There are so many other things like the people that have disability as well. There is now we have like apps that are coming up for blind people, in order for blind people to walk around without any help. And the camera just tells them that, oh, you have, there are 4 people around you, 2 of them are smiling, 4 of them, are walking, like it gives them like all the information.
And all of this is based on, use of technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all these things.
Exactly. Yeah.
I actually saw a demonstration of Facebook for the visually impaired a few years ago, where, so now, one of the things that we keep asking ourselves, so someone who's visually impaired, how can they go on Facebook? Because Facebook requires that you see what's on there. Yeah. But now for the visually impaired, people are beginning to get to the point where there's audible direction that helps you paint that picture in your mind.
Exactly. So now, and also when you think about farmers, our cocoa farmers, like, anybody that wants to venture into farming, do they need to, suffer so much in order to make ends meet, or in order to just farm? You don't need to suffer that much. We need to come up with new technologies that can enable like farmers to be able to, farm better. And even worst case scenario, they still suffer to farm, and they want to sell their market products. They don't need to now suffer again in order to sell, after having a successful year. So you can have like technologies that can let them, connect them to restaurants directly, connect them to people that can sell, like keep them informed about the market prices so that they can, optimize what they are doing. There are so many things that technology can be used to improve the average life of people in Ghana.
Wow, great stuff. So let's learn a little bit about the various types of projects that you've been working on and the lessons it's taught you.
Yes. So, I mean, the biggest lessons that the projects that I've worked on has taught me is values, right, and the meaning of life itself, and it's taught me to become a better person, because I've collaborated with people all over the world, learned new cultures, new values, and I realized one thing stand out. If you have good values, people can trust you more, people believe in you, and you can make a lot of progress. Apart from the maternal mortality project that we did, that won the award, we also built a product for, and that was co-trained students, built a product for a company in California. And what that company does is they actually manage the books of libraries and schools, right, in certain states in the U.S., so that they can apply for funding for technical education. But it was so cumbersome, because there should be like payment receipts, payment certificates, so many things, right? And our students built a system, a records management system for that company. And now you have like so many like libraries and schools in the U.S. like jumping on it in order like to manage their paperwork well, so that they can apply for funding from the government. And this was actually built like by young people sitting in Ghana.
Impacting on lives in California.
Yeah, in the U.S. as a whole.
Yeah.
And I mean, secondly, there is one project too that we embarked on called Kumba Media, and you realize that creatives and people that are into films, video, they don't really get. They are telling awesome stories, but firstly, most of the narrative about Africa is being told by foreigners, so they say it in the way that makes meaning to them, but we believe that we should tell our own stories. So the project is about empowering filmmakers here to be able to tell like African stories and also be able to monetize from it. How do you get access to the markets in, let's say, in Japan? When you have a documentary or a film in Ghana, how do our film, our actors like monetize? How do and it impacts society. It's going to impact the entire industry, made up of thousands of people. So Kumba Media is an app that allows anybody to just, watch movie premieres and buy it, from all over the world and watch African content. And this is also going to like change the way and improve the way things, because once there's a lot of revenues coming in, our industry is also going to improve, and they can even do things like in a much more better way.
Okay. Awesome stuff. Well, I like conversations like this, but very soon we'll be running out of time. We have another break coming up, and then after that we'll only have another 10 or so minutes before we end this conversation. So stay right where you are. We'll be back with more on the Executive Lounge. Welcome back to the Executive Lounge with me, Shira Addo, and my exciting guest, Richard Brandt, CEO and founder of Code Train, an institution that can turn anyone, including me, into professional software developers. So don't be surprised if you see a few apps flying around that I developed, because I'm intending to go to Code Train. But I mean, I'm saying this because I'm having a conversation with you, and I'm suddenly dreaming about doing something that I've never thought of. How important is harnessing one's dreams?
It's probably the most important thing, because I believe that, you know, as humans, we have the ability to carve the future that we want. You know, we have abilities to change the plan of the world, you know, and the future of the world. And dreams are kind of like the vehicles that, you know, that you ride on in order to achieve those, change the plan of the world and to create the future that you want. So it's very, very important to dream, and it's something that also motivates you, because whatever you want to do, you know, to bring a lasting change is going to take a lot of challenges, you know. And once you have the dream, you know, you kind of like don't give up. You know, like the Wright brothers, when they were coming out with, you know, the new way of flying, and creating the aeroplane. They so many people have tried before them, and you know, they also had so many failures, but they kept on trying because they were driven by that dream, you know, in order to fly. You know, and so dreams are very, very important.
What are the things that, for you personally, in your experience, that are critical for one to be able to dream properly? Because I'm sure there's some dreams that, I mean, I can't dream of being a whale. That's not possible for me to become a fish overnight. But so dreaming right and the things you do to keep that dream alive.
I mean, I believe that everybody has a purpose in life, and everybody has something unique and, you know, a fire in them that can come out to achieve a purpose. And whenever you are achieving that purpose, you find, happiness, and you find joy in doing it. You know, so for instance, you have so many families that have, you know, offered a certain service, and you know, that is their purpose in life. That is, and they are not maybe so rich or anything, but they are okay. You know, they find joy in doing it. So everybody has a purpose, and in order to achieve that, you need to be true to that purpose. You know, you need to find out what your purpose is, and your dream should align to that purpose. And the reason why I spoke about purpose is because of the idea of like the right reasons. You know, maybe I want to become a musician. You know, why? You know, is it because I want to become popular? You know, is it because, you know, I see musicians who, you know, live a rich life, so I want that, or is it because I want respect? You know, so finding the right reasons and, you know, the right purpose in your life, once that is aligned with your dream, or once your dream is aligned well, so much that you are doing it for the right reasons, you see that it changes you. You know, you tend to make the right decisions. You tend to, like, you know, associate with the right people. Because you found yourself, you know, and it makes, you know, you tend to, you know, even try to get the kind of resources and the kind of people to help you achieve those dreams. Yeah. So firstly, you need to be true to yourself about that dream, and you shouldn't let external factors and societal pressure to, dictate the kind of dreams that you can have. Like, at least do that for yourself, you know, and once you have that in place, you are good to go. The rest is about, you know, sometimes getting mentoring, getting mentors that can at least judge and guide you, because sometimes you even get swayed away with certain things, but at least you can, having someone to talk to, and the person says that, are you not the same person that came to me and you told me that you want to change, you want to change the way kids learn, or, you know, didn't you tell me that, like, your dream is to make it such that, like, no child under 5 years gets malaria and dies? You know, so why do you want to go and do a multi-billion-dollar deal to get money. That's not your dream. That is not your purpose. So having, the right kind of mentors and the right kind of people and even colleagues that can help shape your dream is very important. And there is one thing, right? In my experience, because I was doing consulting and I was building software, a lot of times people come to me, they tell me they have an idea. They want to build this app. They want to do this. They want to do that. And then you start asking them, what do you want to build, right? And the first thing that comes out usually is some kind of unwillingness to tell you what the idea is and unwillingness to share their dream, And that is very, very limiting because with dreams, the more you share the dreams and the more you say the dreams, the more likely they're about to take place. Because dreams are like diseases or it's like a virus. People get attracted to their dream, and there are other people whose even purpose are complementary to your dream. Maybe, someone's purpose in life is to identify maybe the best innovators and, with big dreams in Africa and, take them and market them across the globe. Maybe that's their dream. So if you share your dream with the person, might feel like, yes, this is what I'm looking for. Or maybe the person's dream is to do something. So it's very, very important to share your dreams, and to share what you want to do. And then the dreams can shape up. And even as you get more feedback and ideas, you see that you initially had a certain dream. After some years, you realize that the dream is growing and the dream is maturing, and the dream is coming into reality.
Wow, wonderful stuff. Unfortunately, that's all time would allow us for this episode of the Executive Lounge. I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Richard.
Thank you so much
to join us on the show. As always, here are the 5 things I'm taking away from today's conversation. Number 1, humanity. Everything you do must benefit society. Everything you do must change the course of our world for the better. By so doing, you'll also benefit. The second thing I'm taking away from this is that while at it, gather some exposure. Meet different people. Learn new cultures. Learn new value systems. Shape that vision by interfacing with different parts of the world, different people from different walks of life, and they will have something to add to what you need to do. Number 3 is that you should never be afraid of dreaming. Dreams will always be the vehicles that will carry the payload that changes the world. Whatever you want to do will start with a desire, a vision, something you have in your mind's eye, and that is dreaming. To make that dream work takes us to the 4th thing, which is to find the right people who are dream shapers, people who will challenge your dreams, muses that can listen to you and just ask random questions that make you clarify your own thinking, or people who will challenge your own thinking and make you refine your dreams. And the 4th thing, actually the final thing I'm taking away from this conversation is that it's never late in life to be a better version of yourself. So whatever you do, take these 5, add some more to it, and go forward, make rain. Shalom. Again, thanks to the team and to you, Richard, for sharing your experiences with us.
Thank you so much.
And you for watching. We'll be back with more on the Executive Lounge. Go forward, make rain. Shalom.